You gotta get with the times.
Huh?
You gotta get with the times.
Yeah, you old, because I don't punch this button and that button. They said, he don't, the poor guy don't know nothing. And thank God I wasn't like that about my parents. I just didn't do what they said, but I knew that they were good parents, you know what I mean? So, send them children out to call people to Islam. Those nice young people, you know what's wrong with when we go to Baltimore and all? They don't have a mission. If they have to stand up for Islam, they gotta get sharper, smarter. All action cures fear. My children might get beat up outside. So what? They get beat upside the head. What the heck do you think Palestinian children are? What's happening to them? And all the other Rohingya Muslims, I said, hey, you think you got it bad here? Step outside the door, homeboy. They don't, you know, and what are you doing here? Your job is to help your people. You know, that's the job. The Muslim Ummah now is past growing up and establishing the Masjid. They got it now. They got it now. Now, use it. So, if they strip the Muslims back 66%, they still, at Dar al-Hijra, they just have one full Jummah prayer. They have 3 full prayers now. In MCA in California, if they strip it back, 66%. Right? They'll have one full Jummah. They can have one full Jummah. They have 3 Jummahs now. Right?
Right.
And once there's a little slipping, you go to these Salatul Jummahs, and they'll drop a little bit in there. But this stuff that's really happening, it's like it don't exist. It's like they don't look at the internet, they don't read the newspapers, they don't do nothing.
There was a brother that gave quote by the close Masjid that was from Palestine. So I asked another brother, I said, did he mention anything about Palestine? He's like, no.
Can you imagine? What have they done to the Muslims? Just a few years ago, we was out everywhere doing all of this stuff, you know. And the Muslims was coming with us. They, you know, we was all in it together. It's time, see, that was a time when we recommended exactly the opposite of what we are saying now. That was a time when we realized that they have to build up organization, they have to build up structure, and if they were to be dealing with what we was dealing with, they wouldn't be able to pull it off. They couldn't, because they're not made of that stock, and they just wouldn't do it. Not only they wouldn't do it, but they know Negroes did it either. You know, the stuff that we are bringing from, did they know colored people did this? So, but now, they have the structure, the infrastructure, and they have the oppression that go along with it. They sent in, this Islamophobia is hitting all of them. Well, why in the world would they come up with certain attitudes? This might as well be ISNA in 86. It was 86 when this stuff first came out. How could that happen? Okay, we're saying we followed the whole script. When ISNA first came here, Maulana Maududi told them to go to the African Americans. The main Imam in Sacramento that I learned a lot from about certain things, you know. He was a part of Jamaat Islami. He was the Imam of the oldest Masjid built from the ground up in the United States. It was built in 48. Now, They had another one in 32 or something like that. But that wasn't, it was a church like or something, then a masjid. But anyway, most of the stuff that we learned a lot of it came through the people that followed Maulana Maududi. In those days, that was the revolutionary literature. Okay, so Maulana Maududi, when I went to Pakistan in '89, I got a letter from him, a letter of introduction to go to Mansoura. He used to live on the compound in Mansoura, right outside of Lahore. You notice most of the Pakistani books that says Lahore. The printing is in Lahore, but all of their activity is right outside of Lahore, in Mansoura. That's the name of the place. They got a big compound there. So before I went there, I did several months in Iran. Then, when I went to Pakistan, the brothers from Iran bought me a ticket and everything, but they forgot to get me a visa. So when I went to, I think it might have been, it wasn't Lahore, Karachi. When I went to Karachi, I was there, and customs took me in a room. They had me in there all the time. And then the Iranian brothers, they was going to Lahore too, because there's a medical center in Lahore. And if you study in Pakistan, you can get a medical certificate in 6 years. If you do it over here, it's going to take you 8 years. Although probably you know about the same as they do here, except a little few gadgets push around. They got more of them here. So anyway, so they was waiting for me, because the brothers from Iran, our brothers, told them, these other Iranians, look out for our homeboy, he's going da-da-da-da-da. So when I went there to Pakistan, they kept asking me, well, do you have anybody that can speak for you here? Do you have? Finally, I said, man, I got a letter in here with a seal. I gave them the letter. That's all, because it says go visit Qadi Hussein. It was a letter of introduction for their place. I showed them the letter. They gave me a visa just like that. They said, you should have showed us this. I said, hey man, I actually forgot I had the letter in there. But anyway, so when Maulana Maududi came here in 1972, 71, 72, he spent all of his time with African Americans, because the African Americans was the ones studying his books, and they knew the whole age. They had read we had read all of his books, because all of them were, you could tell, like Sayyid Qutb when he was writing Tafsir of Quran. You can tell Maulana Maududi when he's writing Tafsir, because movement people have a slightly different approach. The ayats in the Quran mean different things. The same, but a little different. And you could tell when a person is part of a movement or a leader of a movement. Anyway, the point is, when ICNA first came here, they wasn't ICNA yet. No, they was getting ready to be. They came to our masjid, they came here, they was everywhere. We was black people. Khalid Griggs is their editor. He was the editor of Message, you know. And the point is this, is that we've been in the front row all along. So why are we excluded now? All the Europeans, they got little lost spots, they got little this and that. What's the name of them name from Answer?
Ryan Becker.
Yeah, all of those crews, they own, they own all of Russian TV and all of that. And when the word comes down, it comes down from a collective. When I was on RT and all of that for a while, and very effective, it said, no, that's it. And that's RT. It's supposed to be Russian television. How can press TV, Russian TV, everybody get the same message at the same time about the same person if they're not all together? Or there's part of the team, there's a TV team, they push that button. Right? There's a literary team, they push that button. There's a platform, speaking on platforms. The roster team, right? So they got, these are huge organizations. How in the heck, you remember Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, what he said about me 20 years ago? In fact, the next program, he's not 20 years ago. That was 96. That was 24 years ago, right? That's 24 years ago. Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui came to the airport with me in Johannesburg, and he was mumbling stuff and talking. Technically, he was passing everything to me. That's what he was doing. You could tell by the video. That's exactly what he was doing. Because he talked about tafsir of Quran and all that, Muhammad al-Asi. But on the stuff like leadership, on management, on what this stuff really means, he said, we all know about racism, but after listening to Imam Musa, this is a whole nother level of racism. They've been treated the same way we have, something different, a little lighter. So, how is it that the next time I come to South Africa, it's a little cooler? Every time I go back to South Africa, it's cooler and slipperier until it gets actually nasty. You know what I mean? How does that happen? Basically, some people, if they scan that environment, they would say, if they look at all the groups, the Boko Haram groups are starting trouble against Muslims and doing this, that, they would say somebody has paid off almost everybody to fight against Islam. It's structured, it's organized, and it's pinpoint accurate. Not only that, but the group that's supposed to be supporting home base, home plate, guarding home plate, that is Iranians. If you look at what they're doing, if you look at Miss Marzia, if you look at, the FBI gave me a list, when they came here, you're not supposed to, we don't want you to. These groups are sanctioned, in other words. The New Horizons and all of that. I looked at all the names. See, this stuff didn't start last week. If I went back 5 years ago with all of them, now go back further, you'll have those same people in here that made movies on Jesus and everything, right? They strictly homeboys. The ulama that came here with them was sitting right next to me in New York, and they said, when they translated, they said, the hardest worker for Islam is an African American at the end of the table. This is because we got a translation on. And Bahraini from out there is sitting with the turban on. He's sitting right next to me. And Nihad Awad is up there. And da-da-da-da-da. And they're saying that. But yet and still, those same people invite Louis the Lip and all the other outstanding Negroes. I'm telling you, it got so bad when the president is coming and they have the dope buster over here and Louis the Lip over here and as the president. And it's not that I want to be up near the front, but I am back with the camera. I'm all the way in the back. You can't get any further. And the people, they come presenting them to the president because they don't like the president. They got them Negroes there because they don't like that president. The ones that's running it here. We got a big job. We got to fix this thing without breaking it. Because they're dangerous. They're sitting right up next to, I'm telling you this is what I know for certain. Well, 99, 98, because we're human beings, so we shouldn't say, I know this 100%. Only a lie is 100% plus. But anyway, the people that are in control of the foreign ministry are more pro-Americans than the Americans. You can see it, just kind of go back a little time. They haven't repented. Why am I saying this now in specific? I talked to 2 Iranians last week. Well, this is Sunday, yes, so that's last week. Hey, get me an appointment with so-and-so. I want to talk to them. Oh, they're this, they're criminals, they're thieves, they're this, that, and other. But then when we go down there, the food has been prepared by the same person I called. When they have a program, whether it's in China or Texas, they're preparing the food, but I'm being told how crooked they are. The other test, you remember Habibi, the one, Habibi, we call him Habibi. He always called everybody Habibi, that means my love. Yeah, the Iranian guy. I told the same guy here, I said, that is the crookedest Iranian in America, talking about Habibi that worked on the stuff for us here. The next day, you know who showed up? Habibi. So whoever it is, I may delay. Delay means I may know somebody got a knife trying to cut my throat. So all I do is just move a little and miss the knife, move a little and miss the knife, and he can keep cutting it as long as I keep aware that he's trying to cut my throat with a razor, more or less. Okay. Another guy, he was here before. He came here, he's down in Texas. I said, can you call such and such and do this, that, and that? He gave me false information like for the last 15 years. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. So, he said, well, if they contact you and you to go to Iran, would you go? I said, sure, I'll go. Technically, that's the reason that I stayed a little while. No, it's a whole combination of it, but that's one of them. That I'd stay a few more days. Because technically, I was going to leave as soon as I bought that other little car. I was hitting the road and got license on it too. Shoot, I'm ready to roll. You know, real license plates in my name. Shh, good God Almighty. It may be over another state or so, but that ain't no difference. Hey man, so I'm ready to roll. So when we were down there last week, you know what I mean? Tell the truth, everybody there was lying. The young guy, the lady that said she used to go to our Masjid, that was 40 years ago in Oakland. What she was saying was true. Remember how we all came from San Jose, from Berkeley, from everywhere, and we met in our Masjid, in your Masjid, for ayahs, and I remember all of that. The only thing, she wasn't 60 years old. She was a student at Berkeley then, and her husband was standing there, remember holding that baby, I don't know whether it was 2 years old or 3, but he was holding her young, and he only had a few streaks of gray in his hair. And Iranians gray early, like 27, 28. They start, look at Zarif, his hair is pure white. Pure white. It's been pure white for a long time. That means they gray, for something in the culture, I don't know what it is. They live a long time, but they gray quickly. So the lady, I didn't say you're a lying lady. I didn't say that. Because I can see she was not 60 years old. If she did those programs from 1980 to 1985 or 86 or 87, whatever, she would at least be, because if she came from Iran, she'd probably be 20 years old when she got it. So if she was doing that then, she'd be 60. The least she would be was 55. Women don't have babies that old, mostly. And a husband that could be 29 and 30 years old, because he only had Iranian gray hairs for a 30-year-old. Holding a baby, maybe 2 years old. The baby could have been 4, but it was still, she didn't have it. I'm not saying that she had it, but not, if she was 30 years old, I'm a Billy Goat. And then other homeboy talking. Yes, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. They're the same crew from Florida. Remember he said he's from Florida? When I would come to programs, I would take all of these CDs and DVDs, and they would swoop them all up. Like I said, I didn't know whether they loved them or whether they was just getting them so nobody else would get any. You know, and then it's not only that, they forget last year, or when I was at the program and just before I got that operation, that brain operation. See, it was Phoenix where that come on, but I took these photographs and everything of the event, and I tried to raise funds there. They've been making fun of me for the last, I don't know how many years. But remember, delay.
Making fun of you.
Playing. They've been playing for many